It's the Score North Twin Show.
All right, Score North, Extra Innings. Quick little recap episode. What's going on, everyone? Declan Goff here for a quick little Extra Innings episode. Hit the like button, subscribe button on the Score North Twin Show. Expect content almost daily, basically. Close to it, at least. Right here in your podcast feed and YouTube channels. Hit that subscribe button to help keep spreading the word. You can find an episode with Trevor Plouffe, who just wrapped up a great 2024 broadcasting season for the 3 games in San Diego. He also joins us every Tuesday here on the Score North Twin Show, so you can find those episodes on this feed as well. Twins avoided the sweep. They snap a 3-game losing streak. They beat the San Diego Padres by a score of 11-4, so good news there after just some very ugly baseball endings, I guess you could say, over the last 3 days. And Judd Zolgad and myself were able to kind of have a therapeutic episode where we talked about those losses. That's available on this podcast feed and YouTube channel as well, so if you want to go check that out, you can. But today, Twins snap the losing streak. They get off of this, 13 games in about 12 days. They get a much-needed off day tomorrow. They got a solid start from Simeon Woods-Richardson, who goes 5 innings, allows just 1 run. He gives up the solo shot near the end, but 3 hits, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. He did labor through that first inning. He almost threw damn near 30 pitches, but after that was mostly on cruise control, showing a little swag too on the mound, which I was a big fan of. He had a couple struts off of there. Love to see that. Simeon's been a big reason for the Twins season this year. I mean, he probably is in line to start a game 3 of a playoff game or series if necessary for the Twins, so he's kind of bounced back. He kind of had a couple ugly blips there on the resume in the month of July, but lately he's been kind of the Simeon that we've seen. He's approached a career high already in innings if you include his time with the St. Paul Saints, but Sim did his job, gives his team a win, a solid start on the mound for a bullpen that has faced a lot of question marks, obviously, over the last few days. I know Steven Okert got the ball today to end things, and probably a good little redemption story. By the way, tomorrow on the Score North Twin Show, 3.0 Minnesota Twins bullpen pecking order. So stick around for that. That'll be available on your podcast feed and YouTube channel tomorrow. Hit the like button, subscribe button, so you don't miss out on that. A big, though, bottom of the 4th inning, 7 runs for the Twins. A big crooked number for the Twins to kind of bust this thing open. Twins had leads throughout this series. They had leads yesterday. Obviously, we know how things ended there, but obviously, Matt Wallner has another massive home run, 111 miles off the bat. He got off to kind of a rough road trip to start there in Texas. He had an 0-for streak. He eventually snaps it, and then he has another just towering home run. Just looks like a completely different player from the one that we saw at the beginning of the year that had to spend about 2-3 months in St. Paul kind of redefining his game, his swing, and honestly, confidence. I know Trevor Plouffe talked a lot about that with us yesterday on the Score North Twin Show, and then also in the broadcast booth for those that were able to watch the game. He just looks like a completely confident hitter, and he could be an X factor for the Twins. Obviously, Royce Lewis, who has also been slumping a little bit here, but we know who he is. Twins need Carlos Correa back. They need Byron Buxton back, who's eligible to return on Friday, but you need your secondary players to also step up. I mean, last year, Matt Wallner, Alex Kirilloff even, those guys had really disappointing playoffs. They weren't able to hit the ball at all, and you're going to need some of those secondary guys to really step up and, be an X factor. A little bit of an X-Pac shot out there, too, for those wrestling fans out there. But Matt Wallner with another big game, another big blast, and then gets the Twins to snap a 3-game losing streak to the San Diego Padres. They avoid that sweep. They have a positive road trip as well, which is obviously a very good sign. The Cleveland Guardians end up losing another ball game, or I should say a ball game, really, to the New York Yankees. So the Twins winter play tomorrow on that off day. 2.5 games back right now. The Royals are playing the Angels. They're ahead just by a couple runs. We'll see what happens there. We're recording this at about 8:45 Central Time on Wednesday evening, so we'll wait and see what happens there. But a jumbled, tight AL Central at the top. Twins can't afford to obviously find themselves in positions where they're losing games, obviously, when the Guardians continue to win. So 2.5 games, about 5 weeks left in the regular season. So all good things there for the Twins to avoid that sweep and get a big win. What else did I have here on my notes? I thought, speaking of confidence, Edward Julian batting ninth. He gets called up because of the injury to Byron Buxton. Has a 4-hit day today. Again, I think confidence is a big thing with him. I personally still think there is some swing adjustments and approach things that he's going to have to really change in the offseason to probably be a more consistent everyday big leaguer. I mean, this was a guy who was the leadoff man for your lineup on opening day, or for the majority of the season, I should say. And then he was sent down and kind of also struggled there with the St. Paul Saints in AAA. But has a 4-hit day. You can't really complain anything about that. And he looked really confident today. He has eight hits or so on this road trip between the Texas stop and the San Diego stop. So I don't know. Maybe he does go back down. We'll certainly see. I don't know what that other roster move could be for the Twins, but obviously with Edward Julian kind of stepping up, having a nice series, it's good for him. And the bottom of the order in general, Christian Vasquez has legitimately been one of the Twins' best hitters over the last 5 weeks, which is crazy to think because the first 3 months he was legitimately one of the worst hitters in all of Major League Baseball. But he's made some adjustments at driveline and just looks like a much more complete hitter. The Twins like to rotate those catchers between Ryan Jeffers and Christian Vasquez, and they couldn't have just an everyday automatic out near the bottom of the order. And even with backup catchers, usually not obviously being no team really, some teams don't even have one catcher. It's hard to have two productive catchers. And with Ryan Jeffers kind of, also having a roller coaster season, but having a more consistent power stroke. Now that Christian Vasquez has stepped up, that makes life a lot easier too. And Austin Martin, who just brings a completely different skill set to today's baseball. This is not a guy that is going to be hitting a lot of home runs, but he sees a lot of pitches. He takes a lot of pitches. He can drive the ball to all fields. He can hit singles and doubles and just is a really good athletic player and a good change of pace. I thought the bottom of the order today was obviously awesome. And if the Twins lineup does get back to full strength, hopefully soon, and hopefully obviously by the playoffs start when guys like Correa and Buxton are back and knock on wood, guys like Royce Lewis are healthy. I mean, depth-wise, I really do think the Twins lineup is as good as anyone's in baseball, but they can't afford, more injuries to that lineup and more just ineffectiveness. And you obviously want to peak at the right time too, but it was a good showing by the Twins to kind of bounce back after that really sour taste that they had in their mouths from yesterday and Sunday's loss. It was the longest losing streak, 3 games, that is, the Twins have had since that 5-gamer I believe they had back in June. So they've been playing mostly very consistent baseball here for about 8 weeks. So for them to snap a losing streak here, stop that bleeding, get a much needed off day here before a very big homestand comes into town here with some National League teams coming. Obviously the Cardinals are a very good team. The Twins get to see the Braves at Target Field, who don't make many trips up to Minneapolis. I know the rule changes have flipped that, where now they're here every other year, but a big NL swing coming up to Target Field. Twins need to continue obviously to put big games in and get some wins and get those series wins that they've been mostly doing all season. So good for the Twins to obviously step up there and avoid the sweep and get a big win. Yeah, I mean, and also I see some comments here on the YouTube channel about, Henriquez has to go down, and he most likely will. I mean, there's a reason he pitched in back-to-back days here. He's the 8th man in that bullpen. Again, I'll have a bullpen pecking order tomorrow, kind of where all those options currently that stand in the Twins bullpen, where they rank in terms of the best options, kind of 1 through 8. So stick around for that tomorrow, which I'm very excited to unveil. It's my 3.0. But the Twins do their job today. They avoid a sweep and just get that taste out of their mouth, which was such a bad loss for them on Tuesday. And obviously Sunday's meltdown too wasn't pretty. So Louis Varland is an option, to maybe come up. I know Chris Paddock is still awaiting results on an MRI, which obviously usually isn't the best of signs when a pitcher is waiting results on an MRI, but he could be an option in the bullpen. And your starting rotation, you don't have 5 true starters going in, especially to a wild card series and really into a best of 5 series. So you're going to have some extra guys that are going to serve as, those kind of double dip guys in the bullpen that can pitch multiple innings. So if guys like Chris Paddock are healthy, I think him and Louis Varland are a part of that equation. But there was some, certainly some head-scratching moves bullpen-wise that took place over this road trip. Twins take it, though. They win 3 games in Texas. They win the game in San Diego, so it is a positive road trip. They go over 500, and take a road trip series, which is always important and honestly just difficult to do. They maintain a decent spot with the Guardians in the AL Central, 2.5 games out. So good for the Twins to obviously avoid that, and hopefully good things come obviously on this road upcoming homestand after a lengthy road trip. yeah, you can hit the like button, subscribe button here on the Score North Twins Show. It helps spread the word. We've been doing Extra Innings episode. I have at least kind of leading the charge on that from the majority of home games, some select road games, obviously, just like now. You can expect some extra inning content for sure on Sunday to wrap up things at St. Louis. A little bit of a wonky schedule this weekend. We got the Minnesota State Fair in town. Purple Daily, me, Mackie, and Jed will be there, obviously, on Saturday morning. So if you're at the State Fair on Saturday morning around 10 a.m., come and say hi to us. We'll be at the Dan Patch stage, I believe it is, right by the grandstand, kind of right behind the KSTP booth. So if you want to come out and watch some football, talk with us. I'll even talk some Twins to you. Obviously, after the show, you're more than welcome to stop by, say hello. Would love to see you. But yeah, we'll have a fun episode tomorrow. We got a lot of good stuff here coming up here at Score North between the Vikings and Twins. And Score North Twin Show has been an absolute blast. Obviously, it's fun been covering a mostly successful baseball team. Playoffs are obviously on the horizon for the Twins, who are trying to win that AL Central and obviously still stay in the wild card spot with the Royals knocking on their door too. So it's been a blast. Appreciate everyone listening and watching. Twins get a big win. They win 11-4 over the San Diego Padres. Bullpen pecking order coming tomorrow on the Score North Twin Show. Appreciate everyone listening, watching, keeping up the presence here on the Score North Twin Show. I really appreciate it, guys. So this is Score North Extra Innings, full show tomorrow. Appreciate you. Be back then.